Thank you for joining this video overview of the past year in economic development in the Lehigh Valley. Every year at this time, LVEDC looks back at the last year. We take note of what occurred in our economy and our community, how we fared, and where we're headed. We typically do it as part of a public annual meeting. This year, we've delayed the public event until fall, with the hope that it will be safer then to gather in large numbers, to celebrate and network and explore more aspects of the Lehigh Valley's ongoing economic renaissance. Until then, we offer this video and its companion annual report, available on the LVEDC website and in print. For us, every March is a time of reflection, made more profound this year due to the changes and challenges wrought by the pandemic of the last 2 years. In change and challenge comes an even deeper need for reflection and perspective. This is true of us as people and as communities and regions. Life comes to us day by day, which suddenly becomes months and years and decades. One day you look in the mirror, or maybe at a photo, and you see your parent or grandparent looking back, and you wonder when it happened. It's important to keep perspective. After decades in its location, LVEDC is moving its offices from near the airport on Avenue C in Bethlehem to the former Bethlehem Club building downtown. Packing for the move, I recently came upon our first annual report in 1996. It was only 8 pages. It didn't focus much on what happened the year before, but on the possibilities of the future. It was fitting of that economic time. While flipping through that report, I was struck by the difference between a city or a region getting older in comparison to a person or any living thing. Organic life has an end date, usually following a natural period of decline. We've yet to develop a way to turn back the clock and restore youth to the old. Communities, cities, regions are the opposite. They are constantly reborn. They have no expiration date. From the ashes can rise a phoenix. From decline and decay can spring life. The screen refreshes itself with new people, new generations, and new uses for old places. That's the magic, the mystery, and the allure of economic development and building communities. A new canvas always awaits, limited only by creativity, ambition, and resources. I'm older than I was in 1996. My hair is grayer and thinner. But today, the Lehigh Valley is younger. It's more vibrant, more diverse, growing in population and economic output. It's home to new businesses, new arts and culture, growing downtowns, and increasing family income. Since 2010, Lehigh Valley's population rose by 6.2% to 687,508 people, making it one of Pennsylvania's fastest growing regions and one of the top 25% fastest growing regions in the United States. More importantly, the population between the ages of 18 to 34 years old grew by nearly 11% during that time, making the Lehigh Valley the fastest growing region in Pennsylvania for young people, who now are the largest generation in our workforce. This is evident in the development of new modern apartment buildings, particularly in the thriving downtowns of Easton, Allentown, and the south side of Bethlehem, which are being leased as quickly as they're being built. The region is also becoming more diverse. While white people are 70% of the population, every minority race grew by double-digit percentages the last decade, accompanied by a decrease of about 10% in white population. Hispanic population fueled the overall Lehigh Valley population growth, increasing by nearly 46%. The region's population growth is primarily because of people moving here. We had a net population gain of nearly 25,000 people from international migration during the last decade, with Lehigh County being ranked by the U.S. Department of Commerce Select USA program as in the top 1% of all U.S. counties in America for international migration. The Lehigh Valley was among the top 5 regions in the Northeast for net population growth due to in-migration from other regions between 2015 and 2019. This heightened during the pandemic. A CBRE analysis of U.S. Postal Service data showed that migration from the New York Metro to the Lehigh Valley increased by nearly 14% in 2020. It is the population growth, particularly of young workers, that is driving the region's economic growth, which continued during the pandemic. In 2021, we once again ranked a top U.S. region for economic development. LVEDC tracked more than 50 major expansion or new development projects last year that created or retained more than 5,000 jobs. For a 6th consecutive year, we placed in the top 10 regions nationwide with a population between 200,000 and 1 million, and in the top 10 in the northeastern United States for regions of any size for economic development projects completed. These rankings are part of Site Selection's prestigious Governor's Cup Awards. Gross domestic product in 2020 was $42.9 billion, only slightly down from a record of just over $44 billion in 2019, despite the mandated closure or reduced operations of many businesses during the second and third quarters to stem the spread of COVID-19. $7.9 billion of that GDP, 18.5% of our private sector output came from manufacturing, launching the Lehigh Valley into one of the United States' top 50 manufacturing markets. The importance of the Lehigh Valley's premier role as a manufacturer, producer, and distributor of goods became clearer as many of the region's 700 different manufacturers produced food, drinks, medical equipment, supplies, and other essential items that sustained the nation. By way of comparison, manufacturing is only 12.5% of the United States' total economic output. GDP in food and beverage has grown by 60% in the Lehigh Valley over the last decade and only 25% nationwide. The region's well-balanced, largest economic sectors remain the same, with finance, insurance, and real estate first and our largest, manufacturing second, healthcare and education third, and the full bundle of professional services fourth. All 4 of those sectors within about $3 billion of each other. The 50 new projects of 2021 showed the Lehigh Valley economy was not slowed by the pandemic. Here are some highlights. AP Deauville, one of the nation's leading marketers and manufacturers of personal care products, relocated from New Jersey, opening its manufacturing operations in Forks Township, creating 105 new jobs. Cigars International, the online and catalog-based retailer of quality cigars, expanded its headquarters in Bethlehem by 100,000 square feet, nearly doubling its existing space. The company has more than 500 employees in the Lehigh Valley and ships about 2.5 million packages from here each year. Martin Guitar, C.F. Martin, opened a new 200,000 square foot distribution facility in Tatamy, allowing the iconic guitar maker to meet growing market demand and accommodate expected future growth. Up to 50,000 instruments will come out of the new facility each year. Sharp, a global leader in advanced clinical supply chain services and pharmaceutical packaging, increased its manufacturing capacity by upgrading its 4-facility campus in Upper Macungie Township and expanding its pharmaceutical packaging facility in Lower Macungie. Sharp has 1,400 jobs in the Lehigh Valley. Stuffed Puffs, a confectionery maker of chocolate-filled marshmallows, opened its new headquarters and manufacturing facility in Hanover Township, Northampton County. The company's Phase 1 build-out houses customized automated production lines. Your Way. This biopharmaceutical company, based in Upper Macungie Township, finalized its plans to expand an additional 300,000 square feet, a project that will allow its packaging, storage, and distribution facilities to double in the Lehigh Valley. The company will be able to significantly extend its temperature-controlled storage capacity, addressing the growing need for services for clinical trials. Biomed Sciences. The manufacturer of burn treatment, plastic surgery, and aesthetic skincare products relocated to a new facility in Hanover Township, Lehigh County, tripling its existing space and creating new jobs. Bus Patrol America. A Virginia-based school bus safety technology company leased an entire floor in City Center's Tower 6 office building in Allentown for use as its East Coast hub. Capital Blue Cross completed a $4 million renovation to its regional headquarters in Allentown, which includes a new Capital Blue Cross Connect Health and Wellness Center on the ground floor. D. Gillette Industrial Services. This manufacturer of assembly parts and equipment for the military relocated to a new location in Forks Township, a move that expanded its operations and created new jobs in the region. Follett. The manufacturer of refrigeration products moved forward with a $12 million plan to expand its Forks Township manufacturing facility. Penn State Lehigh Valley completed a $14.5 million expansion at its campus in Upper Saucon Township, which includes a high-tech STEM wing complete with a state-of-the-art organic chemistry lab. SunOpta. This leading global fruit-based food and beverage company expanded and added capacity at its Upper Macungie Township facility, one of several such expansions to have occurred over a 6-year span. This all happened in 2021. And it translated to a nearly complete jobs recovery since the outset of the pandemic in March of 2020. Our largest employers are in the healthcare and social assistance sector at 18.5% of our total jobs. Logistics, 11.5%. Manufacturing, nearly another 11%. And retail industry sectors at 10%. The unemployment rate in the two-county region has recovered from an outstanding high of 17% in April of 2020 to just 4.3% last December. The Lehigh Valley metro region attracted nearly 12,000 jobs across all industries last year, the most jobs gained in a single calendar year since at least 1990. The total number of workers, however, is slightly less than what it was in December of 2019, as many workers have decided to leave the workforce, making the supply of talent the single most important issue in the Lehigh Valley economy. All of this, however, has translated to higher wages and growing income for Lehigh Valley residents. The median household income is now nearly $67,000 in the Lehigh Valley, compared to about $62,000 in Pennsylvania and $63,000 for the United States. Per capita income in the region, the state, and the country remain all about the same at $34,000 per year. The poverty rate stayed level in the Lehigh Valley during the last decade, remaining at 10% of our population, compared to about 12.5% in the state and about 13.5% in the U.S. While 10% is still too many people living in poverty, those numbers are being held in check by a market-based minimum wage that's approaching $20 per hour, being created by the growth of the industrial and manufacturing jobs in our region. Our mission at LVEDC is to support the recruitment, growth, and retention of employers and the creation of jobs for people of all skills and all education levels. Every 3 years, we engage our board, our key stakeholders, and strategic consultants to develop a new strategic plan, to reassess how best to use our resources to meet our mission. We launch a new plan this year. It may be our most bold and ambitious to date as we build upon the current economic foundation to target strategic areas for growth, as well as continue to develop talent strategies to market the assets of the Lehigh Valley for new people and companies, and to generate the data and the information to support the hard work of targeted economic growth. I encourage you to go to the LVEDC website and read the new strategic plan. There is exciting work to do and opportunities on the horizon for the Lehigh Valley. That includes new strategies and approaches to grow and develop the high-value target sectors of life sciences and pharmaceuticals, professional and creative services, advanced manufacturing and high-value production, and the ever-growing food and beverage and pet production sector of our economy. The average wages in these four target sectors are well above our industry-wide average of about $58,000 a year. The average wage was almost $70,000 in food and beverage manufacturing, $78,000 in advanced manufacturing, almost $96,000 in the life sciences, and just under $100,000 in high-value business services. Lehigh Valley's life sciences sector includes global leaders like Olympus, B. Braun, Sharp, OraSure Technologies, Thermo Fisher, and McKesson. We're already home to 173 life sciences offices, labs, research centers, manufacturing facilities, and distribution centers, with 2.5 times the concentration of medical device jobs and 1.5 times the concentration of pharmaceutical manufacturing jobs than the U.S. average. Our region's life sciences sector employs 6,430 people with an average annual wage of a little over $96,000. Since 2017, 2 million square feet of life sciences space has been proposed, constructed, or completed. There's opportunity for more. We're also particularly well positioned to benefit from growth in the medical device industry. Many medical devices and diagnostics are already made in the Lehigh Valley, from catheters, infusion pumps, rapid tests, and other life-saving innovations. Employment concentration in the Lehigh Valley for surgical instrument production is nearly 5 times as large as a typical United States region. Globally, the medical device industry grew 5% to $472 billion in 2020 as demand increased in the fight against COVID-19. Several Lehigh Valley companies led by B. Braun, Olympus, Tiber Medical, and OraSure have rolled out consequential innovations in the market despite supply chain shocks and labor challenges. And again, there's more to come. The Lehigh Valley remains in steady evolution. Day by day, month by month, a new Lehigh Valley emerges. New generations and new people are filling our cities and driving our companies, new companies, different from those of my youth. Unlike our bodies, the Lehigh Valley is being reborn. But at our core, some things remain the same. We still make the products that Americans consume. Last year, breaking into one of the country's top 50 manufacturing markets was a milestone. Here's a short video to celebrate that accomplishment.
Moving from an agricultural society through the industrial history, this Lehigh Valley region forged a nation.
The Lehigh Valley continues to drive this nation forward in manufacturing. Our products are known throughout the country and even throughout the world. Manufacturing puts the Lehigh Valley on the map.
Hello, I'm Ed Dougherty, Senior Vice President and Chief Business Development Officer at Lehigh Valley Health Network and Chair of the LVEDC Board of Directors. LVEDC was founded in 1995 during a time of economic change when factories that drove the economy for a century were shutting down. A coalition of business and community leaders decided a regional approach was the best way for the Lehigh Valley to compete in a new global economy. 27 years later, we are again experiencing great economic challenges. We are again seeing that the commitment to regionalism that has always defined LVEDC is exactly the correct approach. At a time when other regions might be scaling back on such investments, our coalition in the Lehigh Valley came together and reaffirmed its commitment to advancing economic development. As a result, we lost no ground. Instead, the Lehigh Valley continued to welcome new development projects, create and retain jobs, and pursued important strategic initiatives. That was made possible because of the support of our investors. In fact, despite the uncertainty created by the pandemic, LVEDC continued to attract new investors and saw other investors increase their contributions. We have more than 140 investors at LVEDC, including 31 new investors and 9 who increased the amount they contribute. As a result, LVEDC reached a record high total of just over $756,000 in investment and sponsorship in 2021. The Lehigh Valley is fortunate to have so many leaders who understand the importance of prioritizing economic growth. I thank our private and public sector investors for their support. Without it, we could not pursue strategies that have garnered national recognition for the Lehigh Valley. These strategies enable us to compete for job-creating projects against larger regions with far more resources. In particular, I'd like to thank the counties of Lehigh and Northampton, our 2 largest stakeholders. The Lehigh Valley business community has also welcomed several new leaders who have taken the helm at some of our largest employers in the last 2 years. However, due to the pandemic, they've had limited opportunities to introduce themselves to others in our business community. That's why LVEDC conducted 2 interview series with 17 new leaders. These videos feature one-on-one interviews conducted by Don Cunningham, in which new executives discuss their backgrounds, their thoughts on leadership, their companies, and doing business in the Lehigh Valley. These interviews can be found on LVEDC's website, Facebook page, and YouTube channel. They're well worth the watch. I'd like to thank my fellow colleagues on the LVEDC Board of Directors, as well as the staff at LVEDC, for their tireless work in promoting economic growth in the Lehigh Valley. In particular, I'd like to recognize those whose tenure with the board is coming to an end this year. Ann Baum, President of Lehigh Valley Riley Children's Hospital, Gregory Dudkin, Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer with PPL Corporation, Gary Kinsey, Manager of Real Estate and Investment Recovery and America's Real Estate Procurement with Air Products, Luke Cunningham, who ended his tenure as Chair of the Bethlehem Economic Development Corporation, Carol Coupland, President of St. Luke's University Hospital Bethlehem and Chief Nursing Officer at St. Luke's University Health Network, Eric Luftig, who accepted a new position outside of the Lehigh Valley, and Barry Wenzel, who retired as Director, East Region at UGI Utilities, Inc. I'd like to thank each of these departing board members for their wisdom, experience, commitment, and guidance during these past few years. I'm proud to welcome the newest members to the LVEDC Board of Directors. Gunnar Brunius, Vice President and General Manager of Mack Trucks, Lehigh Valley, Michelle McGrath, Director of Global Engineering and Manufacturing with Air Products, Shelley McWilliams, President of Lehigh Valley Plastics, Ray Midlam, Network Vice President of Business Development and Strategy at St. Luke's University Health Network, and Steph Raymond, President of PPL Electric Utilities. The following board members will be starting a second term this year: Chris Brown, Senior Vice President and Commercial Market Executive of Fulton Bank. Michael Landsberg, Chief Development Officer, Real Estate of NFI Industries. Susan Larkin, Chief Operating Officer of Allied Personnel Services. Dr. Tina Richardson, Chancellor of Penn State Lehigh Valley. Additionally, the mayors of the Lehigh Valley's 3 largest cities each serve on the LVEDC Board of Directors. This year, we welcome 2 newly elected mayors in J. William Reynolds of Bethlehem and Matt Turk of Allentown. They will fill the board seats previously held by Bob Donchez and Ray O'Connell, whose mayoral terms ended in January. We wish that we could have presented this annual meeting program in person. As Don mentioned earlier, we look forward to organizing an in-person event in the fall when we can celebrate and recognize economic achievements of the Lehigh Valley. Until then, I'd like to say it's been an honor to work with so many talented professionals in both the public and private sectors, all with the same goal of growing the Lehigh Valley, and I look forward to continuing those efforts in 2022 and beyond. Thank you for watching.